Do not covet your ideas. Give away everything you know, and more will come back to you. You will remember from school other students preventing you from seeing their answers by placing their arm around their exercise book or exam paper. It's the same at work. People are secretive with ideas. Don't tell them that. They'll take the credit for it. The problem with hoarding is you end up living off your reserves. Eventually, you'll become stale. If you give away everything you have, you're left with nothing. This forces you to look, to be aware, to replenish. Somehow, the more you give away, the more comes back to you. Ideas are open knowledge. Don't claim ownership. They're not your ideas anyway. They're someone else's. They're just floating out there on the ether. You have to put yourself in a frame of mind to pick them up. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys come in. I was just reading a little bit more from It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be, the world's best-selling book by Paul Arden, Advertising Man. Good stuff. We're talking a little bit about advertising today, but first I have more to read to you. They sentenced me to 20 years of boredom for trying to change the system from within. I'm coming now. I'm coming to reward them. First, we take Manhattan. Then, we take Berlin. That song has been covered dozens of times. Most notably, REM contributed a cover for the Cohen tribute album, I'm Your Fan. Their presence on the compilation led to a rearranging of the I'm Your Fan track list. In the US release of the tribute, REM's cover appeared as the first track, rather than the House of Love's Who by Fire, which was the starting track in all other countries. The song also appeared as a B-side on some versions of the single, Drive. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. Today is Tuesday, July 31st, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is down 5.54% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 77.22, a high of 82.01, and a low of 76.80. That's $1 for 12,947 Satoshis. Checking out the top 10 altcoins. Ethereum down 5.5%, Ripple down 3.5%, Bitcoin Cash down 4.5%, EOS down 8%, Stellar down 6%, Litecoin down 5%, Cardano down 7%, IOTA down 4%, Tether hanging on at even, still keeping Tron out of the top 10, according to Coin Market Cap. As always, you can support the World Crypto Network by donating Bitcoin or crazy altcoins to the QR codes on your screen right now. Thanks so much to our Patreons for providing support at patreon.com/WCN or patreon.com/MadBitcoins. We'd also like to check our Tallycoin campaign, where we've raised $107.56 towards our goal of $1 million to help spread the word about Bitcoin. We are 0% towards our goal. But we're also joined by Max. How's it going, Max?
Hey, Thomas, it's nice to be back here on the call-in show. I'm looking forward to it. And the reading that you started off with was perfect. I really, really like that. I need to check out that book. Thanks for sharing it.
That's pretty neat. I got this book, funny story. I got this at Buda Castle in Budapest. I climbed the outside walls of the castle looking for places that people could sneak in. They'd added an elevator. They had an escalator, part of the castle, so you could just escalate yourself up there. And then when I got in there, there was a museum, and there was tons of great art from all over Hungary and the rest of the world. And I found this book, and it was pretty cool. And I usually buy books at museums, but this one was just so good. And it's not just like his words and stuff, but every page is laid out really well. Like it's got pictures and diagrams and big headings. And again, he's an advertiser, and he took that to heart when he did this book. You know, like having a layout means having an idea. Here's a blank page that he gave you. So very cool stuff.
I really like that. I really like that. And especially because you can, especially you talked about ideas in that way. and that they should be shared, and that they should be given to everyone and given out as much as you can, because the more you hand them out, the more powerful the idea itself becomes, right? It's the network effect. We have it in Bitcoin also. The more people you bring into Bitcoin, the more people talk about Bitcoin, the better it's going to be, because it's going to be a much more useful currency, because you can trade it with many, many more people. So absolutely, share as many ideas as possible. Open source all the code that you run, and do everything under the Creative Commons license. Don't be haggling with your property in your ideas because you don't have any. You can share them at no costs. Property rights do not apply in such a condition. So absolutely.
And I'm definitely one for giving away my ideas. I had an idea for some cool apps, and mostly I've just been giving them away. I want to start a section on the Mad Bitcoins page, software influenced by Mad Bitcoins, because I didn't write it myself, but I certainly helped a lot. Things like Pro Tip is a good example. It's a browser plugin that scans the web page for Bitcoin addresses, and it donates based upon your allowance at the end of the week. Pro Tip, Tallycoin, Bitcoin fundraiser website. You can bring your own Bitcoin address. All it is a thermometer that tracks your progress. Thanks to DJ Booth for that one. And we've got a new one we're going to be talking about later today called Mistos. And what Mistos does is it's a multi-signature wallet built on Blockstack, and it allows you to share a Bitcoin address even if you're not in the same room. And a lot of people have distributed teams and they need to share some petty cash or some donations that they raised. Again, I've even thought of this. You could put these apps together. You could use Tallycoin to raise your money. You could use Mistos to manage your money and to spend it. You could even use ProTip to have people subscribe to your company to pay you every month. So we're starting to get practically a Linux operating system of similar ideas that I've had, ideas that I've given away. So.
That's amazing, Thomas. And the cool thing is, I've used 2 of those products already. We used Tallycoin together to create this amazing fundraiser where people gave away 0.05 Bitcoin, just so I could hand them out to other people, together with a couple friends. That was amazing. The app was fantastic. Yes, it's an early stage. Yes, there are a few bugs. Yes, it's not perfect. Of course not. It's like an alpha put together in a couple hours, pretty much. So don't expect too much. But it's amazing that we have this kind of technology, and especially Mistos, because I have been talking nonstop about the power of multi-signature addresses. That's like the only app you need in a money, because if you can share ownership over a money in a way that you do not have to trust anyone, where you always retain 100% of the ownership over your key, that is fantastic. That is like the most secure shared safe that we can ever do. And it's not just a safe that is super secure, it is also super useful. Just combine multi-sigs with Lightning Network somehow, and you can have like the most crazy stuff that you could imagine. Already, like the ideas are endless. It would be just mind-blowing to have that. And we already kind of do, right? Mistos is amazing. And the things that you can do with it are mind-blowing.
Yep, and we're going to have an interview with Justin Carter, the CEO of Mistos, coming up around 11 o'clock this morning, Pacific Coast time. We'll be taking down this show and starting a new show, so it'll be a separate link here on the World Crypto Network. Just make sure to subscribe down below. We'd also like to go ahead and open up the phone lines, even before we do the news. I'm holding the news in reserve today so we can spend some time with Max, and you guys can call in. So this is a great chance if you want to ask Max any questions about the Mises University that he attended in Alabama, or about the donations that he made this weekend at a music festival or something. And we've also got the Bitcoin marketing agency stuff. A guy reminded me in the chat, he put a pitch out. What if your bank accounts were locked right now? How would you survive the next year without an account? What do you think, Max?
Oh, wow, that is really, really, really good. That is amazing. And that really does put a lot of stuff into a really short amount of time, because it makes them thinking, right? Wait, like, why would I not have access to my bank account? Did this already happen? And then they look in something like Reese and they realize, oh, wow, This is happening right now. It already is happening all over the world, and of course also in America and in Europe. That is amazing. And if you just show them, hey, you're using that stuff every day, what happens if it's gone? Like, you have no cash whatsoever if you pay everything with a credit card. They can take all that away instantly, right? So if they are not using cash, they are really in trouble. And then the question is, what is the answer to that? And that is, of course, Bitcoin, which has an uptime of 99.9992% since January 3rd, 2009. That's amazing. Um, so absolutely, this is a great pitch. I love it.
And just to recap what we were talking about yesterday we talked about elevator pitches. We talked about what they are and how you make them. And what we did is we broke
Wir
the
fahren in
elevator
30 Minuten.
we broke the elevator pitch into several different parts. And so the first part of the elevator pitch is a question. So this is to break into the person's mind. So you're in there in the elevator and you say, "What's the weight of one Bitcoin?" And then they say, "Oh, I don't know. How much does a Bitcoin weigh?" And you say, "Well, it's virtual. It's on the internet. It doesn't weigh anything." They're like, "Really? Well, what does it do?" So we also have these other categories of points that we brought up. What does Bitcoin do? Why is it needed? And how will it get done slash growth? And what I did is I took all the Word document that we made and I put it into a spreadsheet here. And on the spreadsheet, I tried to group these in categories. The basic categories that I seem to find, and again, I think this is a core to what we're selling here with Bitcoin, is online financial freedom. I found things that we said, like it's internet money and it's sent and received. Those are online words. There's a bunch of things that people said that give you freedom. No banks, no governments, permissionless. There's a lot of things that give you a financial ability, such as the storage of value, that it's uncounterfeitable, that it provides security. That makes sure that your money doesn't get stolen. That's a financial aspect. A couple more online aspects. It's a protocol for internet money. You can spend it online. And that's basically what I found when I went through the different parts we made. And one of the things we might do today is match up some of these what does Bitcoin do with why is it needed, how will it get done, and a question, and put them together into an elevator pitch. We had some great comments yesterday. Not a lot of views. So let's make sure to share this content. Give us a thumbs up and a share. I agree. This isn't the sexiest Bitcoin content. It's not the top 5 altcoins or how you can make $1 million overnight on cryptocurrency. But I guess everyone's doing those now. So it's good to do something different, even if it's a little smaller. We had a great comment from B. L. Duyan, who says, "Such a great episode. What I like most is the fact that you do what you like and you do not take no for an answer. Excellent work, Mad Bitcoins." Thanks so much. Also, there was a great comment by Rad Vladdy. He says, "Just a thought as I'm watching this. It seems like there needs to be a different elevator pitch for different people. Like as a sales or marketing guy, you find the pain points of your potential client, and then you match up your product strengths to their pain points to solve. I.e., a pitch to a store owner might be different than to a homeless guy, than to a big investor, might be different to a family guy or a college student. It seems like we need to create a pitch for each type of audience to tune it to their needs. And that's why I went ahead and expanded this to day 2 on elevator pitches. We haven't moved on to graphics or anything else or memes or Twitter or something. I don't know what else we're going to do in a Bitcoin marketing department. But I think this is a good idea. We need tailored pitches. One of the other ideas I thought we might have like a pitch competition, like have the pitches off against each other, like the Sweet 16, have a whole bracket for pitches once we get them together. But I think there's a lot of work that we can do on this and a lot of work that people aren't doing. So there was another interesting comment by Matthias, and I'll probably throw this one over to Max. And it also looks like we're joined by Nico. Hi, Nico. But what Matthias says is, "I did some pitches, and 70% of the time, which is a lot, he says that it came down to the pitchy stating in the end, more or less something like, 'Well, I'm not going to get into it because I would only be making those people richer who already have some Bitcoin.' He says this leaves him speechless. And what is a good answer to the statement that I don't want to get into Bitcoin because I'm going to make those other people rich?" We'll go to Max first, then we'll go to Nico, and I'll try to think of something too.
Well, yes, that might be true that they will make the other persons richer because they are, they give Bitcoin a higher value. Um, because more people use it, more people can use it as a currency. But what they forget is that they make themselves exponentially much more richer because they go from a world without Bitcoin, which honestly actually kind of sucks. This is zero to a world with Bitcoin. And this is one. Like, this is the first step. And it already improves their world so much more instantly. And with the click of a button, literally, you download an app and your world is already much better. And by a network of millions and millions of people. What does the hodler have, the OG Bitcoiner? Well, he already had Bitcoin, right? He didn't start at zero when you entered. He already started at like 9,900. I don't know. So what you gave him, you yourself, was only this little marginal thing, this little one more person that he can exchange Bitcoin for. So you didn't give him that much. On the contrary, he gave you a lot because he gave you this huge one that rose out of your zero. And that is always the hardest step. But Nico, what do you think about this all?
Yeah, all good points. And hey, everybody, I just I was listening into what you guys talking about, and obviously I want to chip in because really awesome the elevator pitches. And yeah, about the jealousy and this whole like, well, we don't want to make the rich richer. I think it's kind of like this. At least in Finland, we have this thing called Finnish guy is the only one who is willing to pay 100 euros, so the neighbor can't have 50. So that's kind of like the mentality here. But what's great about Bitcoin is it creates a game where if you can help your neighbor get a 50, you will get also a lot of benefits out of that. So I think this is Bitcoin is very important because it will bring about this positive change in thinking, and rather than thinking that if somebody gets rich, that's a zero-sum game, it must be out of my pocket. No, that's not true with Bitcoin. We can all win in this game. So yeah, that's what I had to say about that.
It's interesting because I can see what these people are saying, because part of what they're saying is it feels like a Ponzi scheme. And it really does a little bit when you get your neighbor into Bitcoin, if they actually understand it, if they actually buy some, and if the crazy thing actually goes up, your neighbor will be out there promoting Bitcoin the next day, right? Your neighbor will be the biggest Bitcoin fan overnight. So I see how people think that it is a Ponzi scheme. And when I go around promoting Bitcoin, because I have a little bit, maybe I'm just promoting it so that my bag goes up. It's not an unreasonable question that these people bring up, but I think it's hard to answer because you really are making these people richer in a way. But in general, I would say the system is much bigger than this. It's much bigger than 2 or 3 rich people. Also, in the current system, we already have lots of rich people. So I don't see the status quo as better than the potential of Bitcoin. And even if we have to get down to it, I trust the technologists more than I trust the old guard, right? I trust the people who are making companies and making software more than I trust people that are making banks. The banks really haven't innovated. They haven't changed. The software people change all the time. The software people, maybe they're a little more liberal. Maybe there's some agreement with me because of Silicon Valley and San Francisco and all that stuff. But just generally, I believe in software, and I think Bitcoin is better. So. But really good question, Matthias. Thank you for sharing that. That was good stuff. Also, we've got another comment from A.R. Forgenson. He says, Bitcoin functions like cash, but you don't have to handle the dollar that some guy fished out of a sewer yesterday. And we will go down a little of a germaphobe rabbit hole there. But yes, dollars are very dirty. Paper money is really dirty. When you touch it, your hands are really dirty. If you ever go to a restaurant or something and they're not wearing gloves and they're touching the paper money and then they're touching your food, oh yeah, you don't want to think about it, but it is really bad.
If you ever need to have some extra cocaine, check your $1 bill. There should be plenty on there.
Or maybe the 20s. Maybe the 20s. Come on, think upward here. Hundreds, 20s. People with drugs have money, but yeah.
Or not.
Or not. But let's see. Says, oh, this Sange is saying about India that maybe that guy, Omkar Godpool, who writes for CoinDesk, doesn't want people to accuse him of having crypto and raiding his house because of Indian law. That's a fascinating point by Sanjay, that maybe there's a reason for Omkar Godpool saying that he has no Bitcoin. But still, if he's writing about it every day, I would like to donate him some Bitcoin. I'd like to get him some Bitcoin. A lot of other people who write about the price and make the charts go get a lot of Bitcoin. So I'm not sure why Omkar doesn't want that. And I just want to pay him for his work and contribute, you know. So let's see. Freddie writes, guarantees that your savings are not wiped out no matter what laws and governments appear in the future. Another good selling point for Bitcoin. It keeps your savings safe. So very cool stuff. And Roy didn't like the opening quote from the book, but you know, Arden's on his own thing there. He's talking about other things. Let's see. Max says he wants to talk about the Paul Krugman story. Of course, I've got it ready right here. It's part of the news. Opinion: New York Times. Transaction costs and tethers. Why I'm a crypto idiot. I'm sorry. It says skeptic. Paul Krugman. And Krugman's been against Bitcoin for years. We'll talk about this article in full, but I wanted to go down to the section I had prepared. Paul Krugman says, in normal life, people don't worry about where the value of green pieces of paper bearing portraits of dead presidents come from. We accept dollar notes because other people will accept dollar notes. Yet, the value of a dollar doesn't come entirely from self-fulfilling expectations. Ultimately, it's backstopped by the fact that the US government will accept dollars as payments for tax liabilities it's able to enforce because it's a government. If you like, fiat currencies have underlying value because men with guns say they do. And this means their value isn't a bubble that can collapse if people lose faith. I disagree with everything in this statement. I think it's particularly funny that he's forgotten that these currencies used to have value because they were backed by gold. That's what they used to say, is that the country has gold and the country is a big holder. They have a huge fortress full of gold, and that's why they had value. And that he's been able to shift his mind from that, which was relatively solid. They had the money, to they have no money at all, but they have guns. And I, Paul Krugman, am okay with that. So I thought that was very strange. And I also wanted to show you guys this picture. On the left, you can see Weimar Germany before World War II, after World War I. And on the right, you can see Venezuela from just yesterday or just last week. According to Mr. Krugman, in normal life, these people are living normal lives, Mr. Krugman, in other countries. Right here is my friend Elena, who says she just sent $30 to someone in Venezuela via Bitcoin. This is the $1 equivalent of bolivars. How did she get all this cash from the bank? And again, normal life for Mr. Krugman must not include other countries. And it's just bizarre to see a relatively educated person writing this in the New York Times. I enjoyed many of his columns during the Bush administration when he would write about the horrors of W. Bush. But I have no idea what he's on now.
Well,
I can't understand it at all. So.
You know, Krugman is like the definition of a shit show. It's horrible what that guy is doing. He is such a inconsiderate and inconsistent journalist, if you want to call him that. It's crazy what that guy puts out. He contradicts himself in every sentence, like twice over. It's horrible. There's an entire podcast called Contra Krugman by Tom Woods and Bob Murphy, who destroy each and every one of his articles using his own words, because he has contradicted himself with an article that he wrote 2 months ago. It's really bad. And, you know, this article is especially bad. And you see all his ideology and all his mindset in this one paragraph that you just read. That just is disgusting, in my opinion, honestly. To openly say that the government will kill you, and that's why you have to give this thing a value. And this is exactly what you have to do. And if you don't, we're going to shoot you. Come on. What the hell? Do you want to use such a money? We're the most crazy court economist that does whatever the king says him. Like, it's crazy. Krugman just writes whatever the status quo wants him to write. And do you really want to support such a system where this is openly the plan? Come on. It's disgusting and disgraceful, and exit the fiat system as fast as you possibly can, because that is exactly what is happening.
He's also got some bizarre ideas about gold. He believes that gold has no value except for jewelry and filling teeth. And I mean, I'm not a big gold bug or anything, but it is used in computers and circuit boards. It does conduct electricity. It has a little bit more value than jewelry and filling teeth. But that's a different topic. What did you think, Nico? What about Paul Krugman?
Well, I think it's safe to say that nobody thinks that he's speaking from the heart. He's speaking whatever the money, wherever the money is coming from. He's clearly paid to say these things, and it is difficult to fight the good fight and make affect people's opinions when their opinion depends on their paycheck. Obviously, paid in fiat at that. So there's unlimited amount where that came from. But it is. I think it's ignorant to say or think that the US dollar would be any different than the Bolivar, for example, that it couldn't hyperinflate. I mean, the strategy is exactly the same. So how can, like, this kind of, we are living on the borrowed time for at least, I would say, 20 years with the current system. And how is this not discussed? How is it okay that we repeatedly keep bailing out banks that are supposedly too big to fail, and they keep, bailing out those businessmen, essentially, that keep flaying all the value from the hardworking people, and basically give nothing back in value. All the value is stolen, and this is a travesty, and that's why we need to definitely fight. And well, I mean, I don't like fighting except to defend myself, and Bitcoin is a great weapon of self-defense in that, because we have protection for our money, at least.
We'll have to fight with words and with ideas rather than with violence. And just here's an article from Zero Hedge, came out yesterday. U.S. debt sales to surge. Treasury raises 2018 borrowing need to $1.33 trillion. America's funding needs are starting to grow at a dangerous pace. Even before the New York Times reported of Trump's startling suggestion of a further $100 billion tax cut in the form of inflation-adjusted capital gains tax cost basis, which mostly benefits the wealthy. Earlier today, the U.S. Treasury said it expects to borrow more than $56 billion during the third quarter, while market participants expect shorter-dated treasuries to absorb the brunt of the new supply as the Trump administration grapples with a mushrooming budget deficit. So once again, with Mr. Krugman was saying, in normal life, no one worries about the dollar. They're printing 56 billion more. They're printing a total of 1.33 trillion in debt. So normal life is going to wake up for Mr. Krugman, and it is going to matter. And people will be out there with their wheelbarrows trying to buy a loaf of bread. People be there with their stacks full of money that equal a dollar. I don't have the story right here, but Venezuela recently wiped two or maybe three zeros off of their currency. So a 500,000 Bolivar note became a 500 Bolivar note. Everyone knows this. Everyone except Mr. Krugman, who in normal life, people don't worry about where the value of money comes from. Well, get ready for it. In normal life, people didn't used to care about bandwidth. They didn't used to care about internet access. They used to care about their phone battery. But normal life has changed, Mr. Krugman. Time changes. It moves on. And it's probably going to leave you behind. I look forward to the article that he'll write in 2 to 3 years when Bitcoin is ascendant and he says, oh, I was so wrong about cryptocurrencies. But then someone told me about Joe Coin, and Joe Coin is so cool. I can't wait to invest in Joe Coin. And all my friends and family are buying Joe Coin. It's like, wow, Krugman, you've fallen far. So, but an interesting article from Krugman. What do you guys think about Krugman? Give us a call now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word.
But only call us if you really want to see me angry, because talking about Krugman always does that to me. Yes. I can't stand him. Horrible.
Now they're saying in the chat it might have been 5 zeros. I don't recall. I do recall they said something like, okay, they're saying maybe 5. I think they said 3, and then at the last minute they're like, why not 5? Which is a huge difference. Huge difference. And the fact that they felt they had to expand it so close to their deadline, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very troubled country, Venezuela. And it was only a few years ago, I imagine, you could go back and find a Krugman article about Chavez and what a wonderful socialist wonderland it is down there, how much money they're going to make off that oil, and they're going to give it back to the people and build churches and schools. It sounded really great, but it didn't work out that way. Let's see. What else is going on?
By the way, there was a fantastic but horrifying lecture at the Mises University talking about the Venezuela crash and the Venezuela economy. And it's terrific what is going on there. It is literally warfare. The people are starving everywhere. We had a Venezuelan professor giving his speech, and the lecture was chilling. It really, really was. So that was something. No, it's horrible, and you really should get educated on how horrible socialism can be, or is actually always, because it can get really nasty.
All right, I'm trying to find this Venezuela currency issue. The first article I found said 3. So let's see. 3 zeros, and then it looks like a later article. Yeah, this one's from March. So in March, they were going to remove 3 zeros, and I think they did. And then it says in July, they're going to have 5 fewer zeros. Again, this is not even the best way to describe this in a headline. I'd actually say they don't want you to understand what's going on by putting this headline on here. Not many people have ever taken 5 zeros off of something. So it's pretty strange. It says the 100,000 Bolivar note is equal to less than 1 cent on the black market exchange rate. A simple lunch easily costs 3 million bolivars. In normal life today, in the real world in Venezuela, this is happening today. So again, I don't know what Krugman is talking about. It says, yeah, Chavez eliminated 3 zeros in 2008. So in March, they announced that they would print money with 3 fewer zeros again after the 2008, so 2018. And then on Wednesday, they expanded it. And people are comparing Venezuela's economic turmoil to Germany's after World War I and Zimbabwe at the beginning of the last decade. They say that Venezuela's economic fall was among the world's deepest in 6 decades. So once again, in normal life, this is already happening in Venezuela. Could it happen here? Could it happen in other developed countries? I think so. Mr. Krugman doesn't. But you can go ahead and give us a call right now. Otherwise, we're going to move on to elevator pitches. Let's see. Max, can you pick us out a question here? Which one of these questions do you like? I'll read you 3 of them. You get to pick. Did you fart? Are you happy with your money? And there's a phone call. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Steve from Raleigh, North Carolina. How's it going?
Hey, Steve. How's it going? You just want to talk about Krugman, or do you have a Bitcoin elevator pitch for us?
Actually, yeah, I'm participating in the marketing department this week. I just made a flyer for my upcoming community college class on Bitcoin. Thought I might share it with you guys.
That's fantastic. Tell us about it, or if you can turn on the video, you could show us it, or whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, let me just post the link to the flyer in the chat if that's cool, if this works.
Give it a try. In the Slack chat or in the Skype chat, it should work. If you put it in the other chat, you might have to put some spaces in it or something like that.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
let me just do it in the Skype chat then.
All right.
They don't do links in that YouTube chat?
They ban them because they're usually spam.
Okay. Well, this one might be spam too. But yeah, so I made this flyer. I called last week. I'm teaching a community college class on Bitcoin starting at the end of the month, and I'm advertising for it. And I saw your show yesterday about the elevator pitches, and obviously I've been thinking about that a lot. And I'm kind of going with this theme of like, is this a better money for our world? I feel like I have the most success with people. Like you said, maybe it's just the people I interact with, but I'm kind of going with that theme, and yeah, I would love to hear you guys feedback on this.
All right, we've got the flyer on the screen right now. Just read the top part here. It says Bitcoin class at Wake Tech. Is this a better money for our world? And then it's got 3 examples. The price of Bitcoin has doubled every 7.25 months. Bitcoin is the world's largest supercomputer. And the Bitcoin blockchain has no need for banks. It says Wednesday nights. It describes the course, and it has a listing of what you'll be covering on the weeks. And check it out. It's even got a little pull-off tabs at the bottom. Looks pretty great to me. We'll go down the line here. Max, what do you think of this flyer? Is this a good way to promote a college course about Bitcoin?
Well, you know, it is. It really is. It gives a bunch of information in a little, in a little package. The question is if you want to be this technical already, because you have the size of the network, which is of course nice, and you have like really detailed, detailed images of all that. So this is much more for a technical audience than a consumer, layman audience. But absolutely, as we said earlier, we need to get something for each and everyone. So I like this very much. That's a good one.
It does sound like it's a technical school, so it might be perfectly themed for its audience. We were talking earlier, you've got to theme things for your audience. If you're going to talk to children, talk about Minecraft and online games. If you're going to talk to financial people, talk about holding and storage and store of value. If you're going to talk to just normal, I don't know, housewife type people, talk to them about how they can use it online or they can send it to their friends. I don't know, but we've got to have a different pitch for each one. Nico, are you still with us? Do you want to critique the flyer? Nico might have stepped away. No, all right.
No, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, I think it's really great. I really love the is this a better money for our world? First of all, there's a question, which is always great. It forces you to think. A better money, it makes you think like what's wrong with our old money, and I think that's where probably we will get the most results once we point out the flaws that it's not obvious to everybody. You got to understand, it's not obvious to everybody how our money in our pockets is flawed. So this is great. I love how you take it straight there. However, I do agree with the kind of level of technicality, and there's a lot of information. Obviously, all there is good. I think, in my opinion, we should target mostly the very beginners who have absolutely no idea what Bitcoin is. That will make up the vast majority of the population. So I think it would be more effective to have a very clear, easy to read, straight to the point, like very practical approach to what Bitcoin is, what it enables. Like it's like email for money. That's one thing I like to use. I'm by no means an expert in this kind of elevator sales pitches to say I don't do that. I'm not a social, but I like to influence in other ways. But good job on the flyer, definitely the right way to go. And it depends, again, it totally depends on who you're talking to and who you're trying to affect. I just think the most important demographic would be the regular people who just want to use money.
As a computer geek, I feel like I'm in the target market for this flyer, especially the first box, doubled every 7 months. I'm getting a little greedy. World's largest supercomputer. I'm getting a little technical feeling here. I'm liking that. And then no need for banks. I'm pretty political, so I think that's great. So I think it's going to work. I think it's going to attract the people you're looking for. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I appreciate the feedback. I agree with you guys. I went super technical with it. One thing I kind of agree with your message about having different stories for different people. But another thing I like about Bitcoin is a sense of objectivity, a sense of the blockchain really is the blockchain no matter who's looking at it. It's not relative. I mean, maybe this is getting like a little philosophical, but when I do meetups, like actually I'm doing a meetup tonight and I'm talking about how you can sign messages with Bitcoin private keys and stuff like that. And I find that my audience really wants to know that this isn't all bullshit. Like this isn't like telling different stories to different people. Like there really is code here. This really is decentralized. The blockchain, like really is something that everybody agrees upon. This is not like fake it till you make it. Like, so I kind of like, I mean, maybe I get a little bit too passionate about it sometimes or whatever, but so I agree with like telling like people their own stories that they need to hear. But I think it's also important to convey that there is a very strong sense of objectivity in this space, which is something our world kind of needs, in my opinion.
All right, looks like Max has got to leave us. Max, you want to say anything in closing?
Well, this is amazing what you're doing. I like the word. I like the enthusiasm, and anything that you do is great. Honestly, do something, and you're going to get better and better and better at it. And if you keep on doing it, be amazed on how much you can accomplish in just a very little amount of time. So I love what you're doing. Keep it up. That's amazing. Goes to all of you. You know, you have our permission to do whatever you want to spread the word of Bitcoin. So thank you guys for talking again. It was fantastic. I will love to be on the next one again if I can make it. Maybe a show later tonight. We don't know yet. Let's be spontaneous and see how the day goes. I'm going to go out in the forest now, hiking with the dog, so why not? But it's not just me, it's other people as well, so I need to be there in time. It was a pleasure talking to you all, and see you on the next one.
All right, have a good one. We'll see you later, Max. And yeah, I think these flyers are a great idea, spreading the word about this class. People are asking in the chat, where's your meetup? They want to go to it.
Oh yeah. So my meetup is at a Starbucks, kind of a popular Starbucks here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Some Starbucks have conference rooms that you can reserve, which I find to be really successful for a meetup because I have a whiteboard right there, and I also have a computer that I can plug stuff into. You know, meetups are weird because Bitcoin is such a decentralized thing, and it's weird to have just a long presentation by a single person. It's great to have like interactions amongst people, but I found like the best thing for my meetups is kind of a compromise where I do this kind of like 10-minute presentation, whiteboard slash, you know, something on the computer, and then I just let the conversation go and break up into groups from that. So yeah, like I've had a lot of success, like Starbucks rent the conference room and then do a short presentation just to show that, like, you know, there's somebody here that knows what they're talking about, or at least tries to know what they're talking about. And then just let it break up from there. So yeah, if you're in Raleigh, come to the Starbucks on Lake Boone Trail tonight at 6 p.m.
Well, and what you were talking about earlier to make them believe there is code, I think a demonstration is always the best. If you can get people to install a Bitcoin wallet, then you can give them $1. I think that's a great way to show them that there actually is Bitcoin and that it's not just a theoretical thing. And that's what was so crazy, you know, back in the day. Satoshi released the white paper. I think it was just a couple months later, he released the actual code. I don't think anybody was ready for that. We could have used a year to get through that white paper and then release the code, something like that. But one more idea on this, and I want to give this idea away for free again. There used to be an app back in the day called Doge Rain. I wish that Doge Rain was still around. It was a very cool app. I wish someone would have donated him money to keep his servers running because that was probably the only problem. But what Doge Rain would do is you'd send, you know, 1,000 Dogecoin or whatever to your phone. Then you would just swipe forward and it would give away the Doge. And what was great about this is it had a geographical location thing. So you could limit it to people within like 5 miles of you or people within 1 mile of you. So if you had a bunch of people at a convention, and I always wanted to do this, but I never got the chance. If you had a bunch of people at a convention, you could limit it and then tell them to install the app. And then you could have the app and then you could just rain Dogecoin on them. And what I'm saying now, maybe someone could make this same app with a Lightning network. Maybe they could take the back end of a Lightning wallet, tie it up to this very simple swipe forward giveaway Dogecoin, and have some kind of a database with all the addresses and have a database with all the what's it called, the GPS tags or whatever. So you have the location data, inform the user that you're going to track them and all that. And then boom, Lightning Rain. There it is. Free idea. But Nico wanted to talk more about meetups. What do you think about meetups, Nico?
Yeah, Steve, good job on the meetups. And I was just thinking, like, that's a great idea to have the meeting room to yourself so you can have presentations and stuff. And I, for one, would be willing to participate, like in a, for example, we could take like a hangout, a live hangout, and I've been experimenting with doing like short live shows from these meetups as well within my own community, and that's one way to reach a little bit wider audience, because maybe not everybody lives in the capital or wherever you're having your in the big city, and then give people a chance to participate, and also bring in some content creators. You know, maybe you don't have to talk 2 hours about the cryptocurrencies. Maybe you can bring some other people to talk about like 15 minutes about the specific part that they feel passionately about. And I do think the passion is the key here. Whatever you talk about, if you're talking about passionately, people lend an ear to you. They can see that this guy is on a mission, and this is important, rather than it's really hard to fake genuine enthusiasm. So people can see through that if you try to sell something for them. And that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, great job. And I'm not going to talk more about that.
Yeah, I totally agree about the passion. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, because sometimes if you're passionate about it, it's hard to, someone starts obviously fudding something, you know, it gets me worked up, and I start to lose my temper a little bit. So it's kind of a weird relationship between having the passion for a project and also having the coolness and kind of patience to deal with some of you know, some of the dissenting voices that we get.
I definitely agree with what Nico's saying. It's hard to convince people that we're not selling anything, and that this is not a company or a corporation, or I'm not getting a kickback, or if I sell 10 new Bitcoin wallets, I don't get $100. I especially felt that when I was out on the street. I felt more like I was volunteering my time, and I was trying to kind of entertain them, and maybe even give them something that would be worth money. And, you know, Bitcoin was 6,000 then, it went to 8,000. They all could have done very well, even with $100 in, and it would have taught them a lot. But yeah, a lot of people were like, no flyers, no flyers. And, you know, they get the strip club flyers here in Vegas. They get the political flyers or the church flyers. They're kind of flyered out. But still, we have to, I think that's why these questions are such a good idea. If you have a crazy question like, did you fart? Or, you know, is your money real? What if your money disappeared? Or what if your bank accounts were frozen? Things like this. Maybe we can snap people out of their normal realities and get them to think about Bitcoin. Because you know, we have a solution here. We don't just have a problem, we have a solution. So I think it's great.
Maybe don't say to a stranger on a dark alley that maybe your money will disappear. That might be a little bit creepy.
I can help them with that.
It will certainly break the ice.
It will. And so will the one about farting. That one opens everybody right up, especially on an elevator. That was a funny suggestion from yesterday. But thanks so much, Steve. It sounds like a great class, and let us know if you get enough people for it. I'm sure you will. I hope so. Is there any danger if the class doesn't get picked up, or do we need to? Is there anyone in Raleigh, North Carolina, going to Wake Tech in the audience? Anything we can do get this more thumbs up?
Yeah, so I think it'll get picked up. We'll see. I got one person registered for it right now. I got 25 open spots. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic about it. And yeah.
All right. Well, we'll put up lots of flyers. Let's get this thing done. Spread the word. And thanks so much, Steve, for participating in a Bitcoin marketing agency this week.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
All right. And you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. We're talking Bitcoin. We're talking marketing. Very cool stuff. If you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, attending Wake Tech University, you can take a class on Bitcoin. How cool is that? You can't beat it. I remember years ago, they said Bitcoin was tulips and a Ponzi scheme and a ripoff, and you were going to lose all your money. And now they're teaching college courses about it. How'd that happen? And I saw a funny tweet yesterday. Someone was talking about, they said how they were just shocked to see the banks and all of the banks' helpers and all of the banking people were so excited for Bitcoin now. And what a strange, complete 180 it was from years ago. And just how far we've come. And I was looking at a picture on my phone yesterday. I have that great Time Hop app. It shows me all my old photos taken on this day. And 4 years ago, I drove to San Francisco today to sing karaoke with Tatiana Moroz. She wrote the Bitcoin song, the Bitcoin jingle. And it's the funniest thing looking at the rogues gallery of people that I accidentally hung out with on that day. Of course, there was Tatiana, the Bitcoin jingle, created her own coin, Tatiana Coin. There's my friend Paige, who helped start the San Francisco Bitcoin meetup and worked for MadeSafe, and now she works for Zcash. There was Tony Lane Casserly, a big famous person in Bitcoin, used to work for Cointelegraph. There's my friend JJ, who's a big Bitcoin coder. He wrote the Bcoin adaptation of Bitcoin for Purse. Very cool guy, JJ. And there was even this guy, Eric Martindale. And I think him and JJ and another guy who were there were all working for BitPay at that time. And that was 4 years ago. And nobody's doing the same thing. Nobody's at the same company. Some of those people are millionaires. But it's just so amazing, only over 4 years. And how long ago it seems, and how, I spent the other 2 or 3 years working in San Francisco for Bitcoin companies. And it just happened so fast. Someone else was saying yesterday that 4 months in crypto is like 4 years, but imagine what 4 years is. So, but we're still working on the Bitcoin marketing agency idea today. It's rounding up on 10 o'clock. If there aren't any phone calls, I might just do the news. I do have another appointment. I've got an interview scheduled at 11 a.m. with my friend from Mistos. He's going to be showing us his multi-signature Bitcoin wallet that you can share. It's going to be very cool. That's coming up at 11 o'clock. And I think we'll take this opportunity now to just do the news. So you can call us in a few minutes after the news is over. Let's see what's going on. Pizza party in space. Count us in. And it's playing sound. They ordered pizza ingredients, and look at that. I'm going to skip to the end first. Here it is. Look at that. I didn't think they'd let them do that. I thought it would be too messy. I love the way the pies are just spinning them around. It's pretty great. It's pretty cool. Nico says they're going to fund We Economy development with Mistos and Tallycoin. And that's what I've been saying. It's pretty impressive, the software that I've been able to influence and to give ideas to. Because with Tallycoin, you can bring your own Bitcoin address, and you could even collect up to $1 million. We've collected $108 so far. And then with Mistos, you could use that to manage your multisig, which might even be the same Bitcoin address you sent the donations to. People can vote as to whether or not they want to send their transactions. And what's really great about Mistos is it's easy to add people and subtract people. One of the big problems I had with the CoPay wallet is it's just so hard to use when you're adding and subtracting people. So very cool stuff from Mistos. We're going to talk more about that in an hour. CoinDesk Markets reports that Bitcoin is fast approaching the ascending 100-day candle moving average on the 4-hour. If you see right here, you can see the big red downturn and the 100-day moving average. They seem to be lining up to meet each other. The question is then, will it bounce off of the 100-day moving average, or will it break right through? Nobody knows. Even Jameson Lopp thinks that Mistos is pretty neat. He says that they've implemented the degrading multisig concept that he spoke about at Build on Bitcoin recently. Great minds think alike. And he's looking forward to seeing how well it works in practice. Very cool. People can accept new ideas, even if they're not their own, or even if they're related to their own. This is a great example of someone who has an idea similar to myself or similar to my friend Justin at Mistos. And Justin actually took the time to get the team together to work with Blockstack to make the software. And now we can all use the software. Pretty amazing. Little water break there. Now we're moving on. Beauty On writes, roughly 15,600 developers from more than 1,400 companies have contributed to the Linux kernel since 2005, when the adoption of Git made detailed tracking possible, according to the 2017 Linux kernel development report. And once again, this is why open source is so important. 15,000 developers. That's amazing. And again, Linux is built by many different people. Many different people check the code. Many different people contribute their ideas, just like Bitcoin. And we had the New York Times article with Paul Krugman still being a crypto skeptic on Bitcoin, even after everything that's happened. Oh, monstrous. And again, Paul Krugman doesn't believe that in normal life you have to worry about the value of your fiat currency. He obviously doesn't think that Weimar Germany in the 30s or Venezuela today is normal life. It was a great tweet from Elena showing how much Venezuelan currency equals $1. But again, Mr. Krugman says you don't need to worry about this because this doesn't happen in normal life. We talked about the United States debt sales surging. The Treasury needs to raises the borrowing need to 1.33 trillion, more than 56 million or $56 billion more than they thought they'd have to borrow. Bad news for governments. And move over Bitcoin because MacCoin, a physical coin, is making an appearance for the Big Mac's 50th birthday. And this fits in perfectly for me because I've been reading that McDonald's book about the founder, at least the founder of the restaurant real estate empire. And now they've launched their own coin, the 50 Mac coin. And I kind of want one of these. I don't really like Big Macs. I don't really want a Big Mac. But I kind of want the darn coin. They got me on that one. Ricardo Spagnini, Fluffy Pony, writes, BISC is a decentralized exchange that doesn't use a blockchain, doesn't require some weird native token, never did an ICO, and actually works. Shout out and congratulations to BISC. Used to be BitSquare. It's a decentralized exchange, like Ricardo's saying. They didn't have an ICO. They don't have a stupid token. Really impressive. Great work from BISC. Keep it up. And Christina Summers writes, a little mob of scolds forces poetry editors at the Nation to apologize for publishing a poem because it caused harm to members of several communities. No, it didn't. It's a poem. What is harmful is the hysterical mob got its way. And of course, there's nothing we can do except to read the poem. Get my voice ready for a poetry reading. And of course, I'm not going to read the ridiculous disclaimer that they put in front of the poem. The poem is called How To by Anders Carlson Wee. And look at how big that editor's note is. Look at the cowardliness of Nation running away from the poem. So get ready to be offended because here comes the poem. If you got HIV, say AIDS. If you're a girl, say you're pregnant. Nobody's going to lower themselves to listen for the kick. People passing fast. Splay your legs, cock a knee. Funny. It's the little shames they're likely to comprehend. Don't say homeless. They know you is. What they don't know is what opens a wallet. What stops them from counting what they drop. If you say you're young, say younger. Old, say older. If you're crippled, don't flaunt it. Let them think they're good enough Christians to notice. Don't say you pray. Say you sin. It's about who they believe they is. You hardly even there. Great poem. Great poem. It's about a homeless person. It's a rough poem. I don't see it to be offensive at all. I see it as one person communicating the truth of their experience. And if the truth of their experience damns some Christians or shows some people for false charity, the false charity that's true, so be it. Powerful poem. I can't see any reason to censor that. Sorry if I offended you guys, but I feel I have to read poems that they say are offensive. Just have to. Shout out to IBLB in Long Beach. He was cleaning out some storage rooms at work, and he came upon this 1974 Smith Corona Galaxy 12. He wants an offer in Satoshis. Look at the detail in these manuals. Learn the elements of touch typing in just 10 days. And for all I know, that first thing he showed was a receipt for when they bought the typewriter for, looks like $113. So very cool typewriter. Maybe you'll have to come out to Vegas and give it to me. We can hang out. That would be the best. I think it's going to cost you a lot to ship it from Long Beach. Typewriter update. I hope that I don't want to buy any more typewriters on eBay. I'm a little burned out. The pretty red one that I thought was be so nice, like Hunter S. Thompson's typewriter, so far it's jammed and it doesn't work. The pretty gray one that I thought would be so fun and manual doesn't really write that well because the ribbon doesn't pop up that well so much. So I got typewriters in working condition, but not restored. One of the comments on here, this guy says, you can't go wrong with a restored 1930s Model O. Each key is made of glass. Look at that. If we could get a zoomed in version here. He's got the Bitcoin chart. He's got, looks like some nice liquor there, Poppy Van Winkle's Family Reserve. And here he's got a beautiful looking old typewriter. And I really do listen to him and believe him when he says the keys are made of glass. Look at those magnificent keys. What a nice typewriter. It looks like he's typing his little to-do list right there. He's even found a real world use for his typewriter. Great stuff. Maybe someday one of my typewriters will work. Oh, well. Today is BitGive's 5th anniversary. Looking forward to look back on a bright future ahead. Thanks to all our amazing supporters who've kept the dream alive since 2013. Stay tuned for more reflections and announcements coming soon. So congratulations to BitGive on their 5-year anniversary. It doesn't seem so long ago. Activist publishes 11,000 WikiLeaks Twitter direct messages. And it seems like WikiLeaks, who was supposed to be an impartial public service organization, the original idea of WikiLeaks, which I supported, is if you've got secret documents, we'll publish them. Sadly, it seems like WikiLeaks has shifted and it's become, if you've got secret documents that hurt the Democrats, we'll publish them and work together with our team of propagandists to help promote the information. It's a big fall for WikiLeaks. They used to be, just like I'm saying, an open source information agency, but they obviously changed during the 2016 election, as we can see from their internal messages. The privacy machine comes back for those who work for the privacy machine. And behind the doors, they're saying, as they're saying here, the idea that attitudes and behavior of WikiLeaks behind closed doors is relevant, especially in their coordination of PR, propaganda, and troll ops through other assets that are public supporters but not publicly known, to take cues from WikiLeaks. So it is relevant. It is important to turn the mirror on yourself. And that's why this organization was started. It was started to turn the mirror on everyone, but then they ended up losing their way, becoming political, and taking sides. Did they take money from Russia? I don't know. The demise of Bitcoin has been greatly exaggerated. Well, we knew that. The fight back against the Bitcoin energy guzzlers has begun. So Niagara Falls, US and Canadian authorities are struggling with a surge in Bitcoin miners, earning big bucks thanks to cheap hydroelectric power. What's the problem here again? You can't build more dams? You weren't using this power. You weren't using this electricity. You were just wasting it. The Bitcoiners found a way to use it. Now there's greater demand. Build more hydro plants. Build more dams. Get more money. Charge more money for the electricity. You don't want people to stop using your product? Makes no sense. Why Bitcoin will never replace gold. Yeah, people are using gold so much. And the price of gold is doing so well. Let's see if I can get price of gold. Can you give me a I want a chart. I don't want a chart. Come on. Real-time spot gold prices. Gold price. Here we go. Oh, come on. Give me a chart with some time in it. That doesn't look that bad. At least on bullion vault, it looks okay. I thought gold was in a big decline, but seems fine. Over 5 years, over 20 years. Over 20 years, we're seeing that it's a bit in the middle. I'm not sure it's going to retake these heights, though. Gold. Oh, there's a gold ETF. Bitcoin mine brings hope to Central Texas town devastated by job losses. Maybe those people with the power plants should learn from this town and appreciate the new jobs that Bitcoin brings them and the ability to sell more hydropower. Now the small town of Rockdale, about an hour northeast of Austin, is hoping the days of used to be are drying up. A Chinese company plans to open a Bitcoin mining operation in the old Alcoa plant just outside of town. We're still trying to survive here in this little town. Well, I'm not sure how many people they're going to employ at a Bitcoin mining farm, but maybe a few. I think it's mainly going to take more power. Maybe the people that eat there will eat at the different shops or something, the people that work there. I don't know, but good news for Central Texas. Millennials are 5 times as likely as older adults to say that Bitcoin is the best way to save for the future. And people always ask, why am I so into getting the young people? Why am I not into the old people? It turns out that young people are 5 times as likely as to be interested in Bitcoin as the old people, and that they're using Bitcoin to save for the future. This is called a generational shift. That's right. The people of the old generation who are talking to on the news shows on Bloomberg and CNBC have no idea what's happening down here in the real world with the new generation. This article right here is even from CNBC, but they're not going to learn from it. They're not going to change. They're just going to go away. It's very sad for them. Charlie Munger from Berkshire Hathaway called Bitcoin worthless, artificial gold, adding that it's not something I think the world needs. The fact that it's clever computer science doesn't mean it should be widely used, and that respect to people should encourage other people to speculate on it. Bitcoin reminds me of Oscar Wilde's definition of fox hunting, the pursuit of the uneatable by the unspeakable. That's funny. You'd use Oscar Wilde to support the mainstream media's definition of Bitcoin. Oscar Wilde, an ultimate rebel, a ultimate do-it-his-own-way thing. These crypto nomads are using Bitcoin and Ether to travel the world. That sounds pretty cool. I'd like to do that. Let's see. I don't know. Not seeing much here, though. Oh, well. Bitcoin's second ever developer is back with a big vision for crypto. I'm not sure what he's doing, but it's good to see Marty, Sirius Malmy back. And they're launching a new cryptocurrency called Axe. Oh, well. It's going to be with an online reputation system with a decentralized database system called Gun, taking on the desired mission of decentralizing the web. Yeah, another altcoin. Okay, well, maybe it'll be cool, but I kind of doubt it. And we're towards almost the end of news. Bitcoin's price moves below 8K as bull case weakens. Omkar Godpool, who still doesn't own any Bitcoin. Let's go to the view. The current 4-hour candle will likely close below the lower Bollinger Band, confirming a bearish breakdown. In this case, Bitcoin is seen to be falling to the ascending, bullish 100-day candle moving day average on the 4-hour chart, currently located at 7,609. A daily close below the 100-day moving average support of 7,591 would signal a short-term bullish to bearish trend change. The bulls are seen making a comeback if Bitcoin finds acceptance above $8,300. Currently, it looks like 7,722, at least according to Bitcoin average. So we are below the 8,000 range, at least right now. Nico, you had some news to share about a meetup or something? Go ahead, Nico.
Oh, no, nothing about a meetup. Just wanted to chip in about Marty Malmy, actually. I approached him because we are working on a karma system as well for We Economy, and he's essentially doing the same thing. I gotta say it's a little bit disappointing to see that he's building his own token, which I don't think is necessary for this kind of thing. I did reach out to him, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So, Marty, if you're watching the show, reply my email, please. Maybe we can work together. I certainly respect your work so far, and he is one of the early developers. So, all respect to him. And probably, I actually looked into his identification project. It seems really interesting. I just don't understand where the token comes in. But yeah, I think it's probably to make some money.
Yeah, the tokens are always to make money, sadly.
Right.
It's always like somehow somebody gets $1 million. They knew that guy. He's got a Ferrari. Uh, but I want to go ahead and open up the phone lines right now. If you'd like to give us a call on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. We're going to keep this show going for about 15 more minutes. Then I'm going to take it down and get ready for my interview with Mistos. You can check that out at 11 o'clock right here on the World Crypto Network. We've been talking about Bitcoin marketing agency today. Yesterday, we brainstormed a bunch of ideas for elevator pitches, and today I separated them into spreadsheets. We still need to go the path of putting these together into elevator pitches. I might go ahead and try to do this offline and get a couple of them ready for you. Then maybe we'll have a elevator pitch competition, like a tournament, using the pitches that you guys helped me make. And then we'll compare them, and there will be one winner, and we can have a competition. So we're checking in with the chat. Metal Gear says that the elders are a lost cause. Zach says the elders in his family still use AOL. It's going to be hard to get them on the Bitcoin train soon. And Tim agrees. He says elders don't know that hard money rules the world. They don't care for 2008 or 9. They're stubborn AF. And Nico says he's got an idea. Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Oh, let's take the call first.
We'll get her on first, then we'll talk. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's me, Boss Lady, calling from Florida.
How's it going, Boss Lady? I think Nico had an idea, so we're going to go to Nico first, then we'll bounce right back to you. What was your idea, Nico?
Yeah, I was just thinking that it might be fun to, one way to break the ice, to have somebody on a FaceTime call or whatever video call, and then go to an elevator and have them do the pitch. Like that will certainly like put them on a like conference call with some people from on the other side of the world, and talk to. I mean, they will for sure. You will get their attention, I think.
That would be fun. Maybe an idea you could add to that is somehow if they could send you Bitcoin. Maybe if you got your friend to sign up for a wallet, then you did a conference call. He holds up the QR code, you hold up your phone, and then your buddy from like Germany or whatever sends him $1. That's
awesome.
amazing.
I love that.
Yeah, and anybody can do that. It doesn't have to be Germany or anything like that. It can be next door. It can be a town over. But go ahead, Boss Lady. What's on your mind today about Bitcoin? Go ahead.
I love that idea. I think those are great ideas, especially since they're live, it's action oriented, and you can engage with the audience in real time and make it useful by actually transacting. And it's less explaining and more experiencing it, which I found to work really well. And, with the elders, I mean, yeah, it's definitely not as easy to get the older folks on board as the kids. But I've found that when a grandparent wants to give something to their, they're always gifting their grandchildren something, and their grandchildren want tokens, and they want to get these swords, and they want to level up in these games. And so they're asking grandma and their parents, they're asking them to buy these tokens to help them in their game. And so that little motivation there, that's enough incentive for them to do it, just so that they can be able to get their kids and grandkids the little games that they want, because they want to buy stuff for them, they want to spoil them, but they're not happy with the stuff from the store anymore. They want these virtual gifts. And so that was just something I wanted to throw out there as something that I saw that worked.
That's a good idea. They could buy, so they could get Bitcoin to then get these virtual things, or would they have to get the virtual tokens and send them like World of Warcraft money directly, something like that?
It is. It's World of Warcraft money, but to them it's all the same. Like it's, as long as they can spend it, it's money. So whether they're buying Bitcoin or whether they're buying World of Warcraft tokens, it doesn't. It's all the process to learning how to buy it is literally the same. You go on, you have to use your fiat money to exchange it for the digital token. You have to have the app, you have to have the wallet. It's the exact same process. And that's why I think it's so easy for our kids to understand Bitcoin, because they don't have to learn anything new, except for this is a different type of of token that I can use in my Minecraft game, my Roblox game, and all the other little things. Plus, they can, spend it on eBay or to buy things from, Target.com or whatever it is. So they just get it instantly because they're already using it.
It would be cool if the older people saved some of it as change, and then maybe they don't even have to buy a gift next time.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then if they see it go up, they're not, coming out of the pocket. They're actually like having that little investment earn them, it's like a savings, like how it should be when you save money. Yeah, for sure.
I wanna chip in a little bit because I have a kid and I'm teaching him about Bitcoin as well, and he's collecting bottles and he's saving up to his piggy bank, and just today he broke it open again and he bought some Bitcoin out of me because all he cares about is this Lego mecha that he's been drooling over for the past half a year, and all he ever talks about is when is he gonna be able to afford that. And then I told him like, well, I'll let you in on a little bit of secret. I have this better money, so if you buy this better money and hold that, there's a chance that you might get it faster or not, but you do want to give it a shot, and he did. And right now he's actually teaching the grandparents, who of course are highly skeptical of anything new technology, because he's checking on his Bitcoin wallet every day to see if it went up or down. And yeah, they are curious, of course, now. Like, even though if you try to approach them, then they will just like dismiss it. But once they see a child it's something that child understands, and that he's excited about, then it kind of rubs on to the older generation as well. So definitely another good reason why we should target the kids and the youngsters, for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I really love it. Again, I'm doing this 90-day experiment starting August 4th or 5th, and we're just going to go the next 3 months and really just actively target and engage our kids. So we're doing it through the Bitcoin.pub forum, and we're just doing it kind of live through our meetups. Somebody was asking about the VR portion of that, which is pretty cool for the kids, because if you tell the kids that you're going to take them to a Bitcoin meetup, they're not going to want to go, and they're going to like not be excited. But if you tell them that they're going to go test out a new VR game and they're going to get paid, to do it, and they're going to, that we need them for their opinions and their feedback and their voice. Like kids like to be heard. And so when you combine like this cool VR new thing that they're into, the fact that they can level up and they can play the game and earn tokens to then take home and play on their game, and then they get to like talk about it and maybe even like create a video about it. They go crazy for this stuff, guys. So that's kind of how I approach it when I do these meetups. I don't present it to them like that. And so anybody that has kids, please like reach out to me. Let's connect them, because they create their own little societies. We're getting some Dogecoin. Well, once we start the experiment, we'll have some Dogecoin and hopefully some other cryptos for them, so they can earn for completing tasks within our little cohort. We're going to have them completing assignments. Basically, like, we need them to tell us what they like and what they don't like, to use the apps that we're building. We want them to be able to give us feedback on what's working and what's not, because they're the ones that are really using it, and they have the the wherewithal to give us some, I think, really really pertinent information. If we don't know who we're building it for, what they want, how are we going to provide them with the tools and resources that they need? So I think that's really cool, and the VR just makes it, again, enticing for them, and it takes them into this whole other ecosystem. It's like a VR world, and they're able to meet new people and interact in VR, and it's their own little economy that they're building. So I'm excited about this, guys.
That sounds like a great way to spread the word, especially if we can get to the young people and then have them turn the old people on. If your kid will only accept Bitcoin for his birthday present, grandma and grandpa are going to have to learn about that strange new Bitcoin. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I spoke with Rolf Versluis with Zencash the other day. He's a co-founder from Zencash, and I interviewed him, and we were talking about these very things. And he mentioned to me that his daughter, I can't remember her age, but it was like 10, 11, around there. She came up to him the other day and was like, "Oh, Dad, I need you to take this to the post office for me." Like, and it was like a package, and he's looking at her like, "What do you mean, take this to the post office for you? What is this? What is going on?" And she was making slime. I don't know if you guys remember Nickelodeon and they like slimed you. It's back. The kids like go crazy for it. So she was making her own slime and she was selling it online. And so she sold some and had to ship it out. And so he had no idea, she did this all without his permission, without his knowledge. And like that really like opened his eyes and opened their, like, it just takes a parent realizing that their kid was transacting. What do you mean? Like you're buying and selling things online? Like what? And it's coming into their life so real and so tangible. It just takes that experience for them to see like, oh shit, this is money. Like they don't even need our permission to do this. And it kind of like, whoa, it makes them look at it and be curious, very curious. Well, what is this crazy internet money that you're able to do this with? And then they will become curious and start asking questions. I mean, of course, he already knew all about Bitcoin and everything, but just from taking that from a perspective of somebody, a parent that doesn't know about it, that's all it's going to take is to see their kid using it, and they're going to become very curious. I can't imagine they wouldn't be.
So did his
It'll
daughter
happen.
set up
It'll
a
happen.
Bitcoin wallet, and did she accept Bitcoin for the slime? She did the whole store herself?
She was using PayPal and all different types of. She was using Zencash, I believe. Like it was. She has her whole little setup. She's like started her own little entrepreneurial business and just did it. Just did it. And so, part of our experiment, she's going to be coming on the show, and I'm going to be interviewing her to get more details because we just kind of touched on it briefly. He just told me the story, but that was what enticed me to want to reach out to her and connect with her, as well as his son, who's 17, and he does the same thing. He sells, products and services and earns allowance and stuff in Bitcoin and Zencash. He actually helps to run his dad's big mining rig. Ralph has a bunch of miners in Atlanta, a big warehouse, and his son's been running the business since he was like a kid, a few years now. So he actually has a lot more experience in mining rigs and how to build them and everything. So I'm going to have him come and teach some of our newer kids how to run a miner. And hopefully we'll have one or two at the co-working spaces where they can practice and actually start earning some income there and make this something, real. Once they start earning income, we have Doge donated that they can earn and transact. I mean, Doge isn't really worth anything outside of people that say they'll accept it for something. I mean? Once somebody says, oh, sure, you can pay me, Doge for a ticket to Disney World or to go see a movie or, to ride in the Bitcoin Lambo, sure, I'll take Doge for anything. Well, now all of a sudden it's valuable. So if you can provide stuff for the kids that they want to spend it on, which is mostly games and kid stuff, but if you can find out what they want and you can offer that to them, you'll cash out their tokens for them for that. Now it encourages them and incentivizes them to start earning and getting that token any way they can. So that's the way to get the use going and the adoption, that it incentivizes them. They're kids, but man, they're so smart. And they're going to build stuff. Once they start using these applications, they see what they like, what they don't like. They collaborate with each other in real time in VR and live streams, and they build some stuff, man. Let me tell you.
Well, I'll have to get a backwards hat and play more Minecraft so I can understand the children. But it sounds really
Do
good.
it.
It
Do
sounds-
it. Sign up with us. We're going to get donations and we're going to get people that are going to help us cover the cost for kids to be able to test out these games. It's not just playing for fun. I mean, it is, but we want their feedback on it because we're implementing real cryptocurrency into these games. It's not like we want to keep using their little tokens forever. We want to use crypto. And so that will make it, that's our end goal there with that. And we need their feedback to do that. So we can pay them. We can compensate them if they were doing a job. If you were doing a focus group for marketing, for the Bitcoin marketing, network, then they would get paid for that. So we want to treat them like, citizens of the world that don't need our permission to transact. And we want to treat them as such and make sure that they're compensated and incentivized to be curious and learn more, So,
All right. And
yeah.
Boss Lady, where can people learn more about what you're doing? Can people follow you on Twitter or where can they sign up?
Yeah, follow us on the bitcoin.pub. It's Peter and John Saddington's cryptocurrency forum. I started a topic for our conversations here, Thomas, because you're helping to hold me accountable for everything. I really appreciate that. That I'm able to, put it out there. And I think yours was the first channel that I really did that on. And so thank you for the platform. And I really appreciate everybody in the chat. please reach out on the Bitcoin.pub, join our experiment, and let's see if we can get our kids to take it mainstream for us. Hey, we'll leave the job up to them, right? We've done enough work.
That sounds good. Let them do some of the heavy lifting. Their backs aren't hurt yet, so we'll get them on it.
Yes. Well, thank you for. I'm not gonna take up all your time, but thanks again so much, guys. And Thomas, I can't believe you're doing an interview, and it's not me.
Yeah. Oh well, we can do an interview another time. I just gotta. It's hard to schedule these things, and once I get them scheduled, I gotta
I'm
do them.
having a hard time. I'll post this to the pub. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks so much, Boss Lady, for the call. Give us a call anytime. And thanks to everybody who watched the show today, gave us a thumbs up and a share. I think we're going to head towards the end of the show. But remember, this isn't really the end because we have another show coming up right after this at 11 o'clock. So once again, as always, you can support the World Crypto Network by donating to the Bitcoin address on your screen or any of the crazy altcoins accepted by Trezor. You could subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/WCN or patreon.com/madbitcoins. We've got a pizza party in space today. That's pretty great. And as always, you can donate to our Tallycoin fundraiser, where we're trying to raise $1 million to promote the word about Bitcoin. We've raised $107.91. Okay, the alarm's going off. $107.91. And we're getting ready for our interview with Mistos. It's going to come up at 11 o'clock right here on the World Crypto Network. Mistos is an incredible new multi-signature wallet that's easy to use. It's built on the block stack, which builds on Bitcoin. So very interesting stuff. And there's going to be a lot of cool announcements from Blockstack in the future. And we hope we can cover them for you right here. But until then, we've got to get ready for the interview. Thanks so much, Nico, for joining us. Where can people learn more about your work? Do you have another show coming? I know you had a show yesterday. So tell people.
Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter, Omnifin, double N at the end. I also am the chairman of Finnish Cryptocurrency Association Consensus. We have a weekly show. I'll be making more and more English shows. The next one is also in English every Monday, 4 p.m. UTC. And the next one is going to be very interesting. We're going to have the head of digitalization from Bank of Finland, Aleksi Grimm. He wrote a hit piece about how cryptocurrencies are an illusion. And he called in one of my live shows, he called Bitcoin digital sand, which I almost took a little bit personally. Shout out to him. He's a great debater. And if you're watching this, I'm really looking forward to our show next Monday. That is the 6th of August and 4 p.m. UTC. It's going to be a showdown. And also we have Henry Brade, who is one of the, I think he's the first Bitcoin entrepreneur from Finland and one of the first ones in the world. So definitely check us out next week. And thank you, Thomas, for inviting me and at a good quality show as always. And please don't underestimate kids. They are going to do the heavy lifting. They are living and breathing this technology that we all have to learn. My son is amazing. Like he's picking up everything like immediately. For him, it's like obvious, and they will lead the way. We just need to give them the right tools and education.
Sounds like a plan. And we'll be back in just about half an hour. I'm going to put the link on the World Crypto Network Twitter and on Mad Bitcoin's Twitter. You can also follow us down below by subscribing to the World Crypto Network. Be sure to hit that bell so you get the notifications. Until next time, bye-bye.